Hey everyone, we're diving into something that's probably on a lot of young people's minds, especially in Africa. You know, that dream of a better future, maybe abroad. We all know the challenges back home. The desire for better opportunities can feel, well, overwhelming. What if I told you there's a way to make that dream a reality, a real structured pathway?
And that's exactly what we're unpacking today. Ireland's General Employment Permit. It's designed to help people like you, skilled individuals, work in Ireland and maybe even settle there permanently.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So break it down for us. What is this general employment permit? Why is it such a big deal, especially for young people with big ambitions?
It's like a key. It unlocks a whole world of possibilities in Ireland. It's how Ireland welcomes skilled workers, people from outside the European Economic Area. And the interesting thing is, it's not limited to just a few jobs. It covers a huge range of occupations.
It's not just for, say, doctors or engineers. Anyone can apply.
Exactly. IT professionals, healthcare workers, people in hospitality, even creative fields, you name it. The General Employment Permit is open to almost every occupation. And here's something else. Even if a job is on that critical skills occupations list, you can still apply through the General Employment Permit. So multiple options to explore, which is a real advantage.
That flexibility is great. Now, here's something I found really interesting. You can get this permit before you even have a job offer, right? Why is that?
You're right. That is a unique feature. It means you can start exploring opportunities in Ireland, knowing you're already eligible to work there. Gives you a head start, lets you focus on finding the right job, one that fits your skills and what you want to do.
Wow, that sounds pretty empowering, like having that green light before you even land in Ireland. And speaking of landing, how long is this permit good for?
So at first, it's granted for 2 years, but here's the best part, you can renew it for up to 3 more years.
So 5 years total. What happens after that? After those 5 years are up?
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. After 5 years on this permit, you can actually apply for long-term residency in Ireland.
Hold on, are you saying there's a way to live in Ireland permanently through this program? That's huge, especially for someone who wants to build a life in another country.
It absolutely is. Of course, nothing is guaranteed, but it's a clear path. It shows you how committed Ireland is to attracting global talent and keeping them there too.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there are some requirements, right, to be eligible. What are some of the key things someone needs to know if they're considering this permit?
Definitely. There are standards, of course. First, let's talk about the employer. They have to be registered with the Irish Revenue Commissioners, making sure everything's legal and above board.
Makes sense? Don't want to go through all this just to end up in a bad situation. What else is there on the employer side?
Well, they need to be actively doing business in Ireland, having a real presence there, contributing to their economy. And obviously, the job itself has to qualify for the General Employment Permit. There's a list online of ineligible occupations, easy to find, so you can double check.
So both sides have to be legitimate, the employer and the job. What about the employee? What do they need to qualify? Like, what about me?
One of the biggest things is how much you'll be paid. For most jobs, the minimum salary is 34,000 euros per year. Might sound like a lot, but remember, living in Ireland can be more expensive than other places.
Right. Cost of living is important to consider. 34,000 euros a year. How much is that per month after taxes and everything?
It really depends, of course. Everyone's different, but after taxes, you're probably looking at around 2,800 euros per month. That's a good amount for rent, food, transportation, and even some leftover to save or, explore Ireland.
That helps a lot to understand the bigger picture. Okay, so besides the salary, what else should people know about these employee requirements? What kind of qualifications or skills are we talking about?
Aside from the salary, you need to show you have the skills or experience for the job you want. Ireland wants people who can contribute to their workforce.
So you've got the skills, the salary's good. Now what? How does someone actually apply for this?
It's pretty easy, actually. Everything's done online. The system's simple to use, but you want to start early, like at least 12 weeks before you plan to start working. That gives you time to get all your documents together, no last-minute stress.
God, starting early is key. Now, I'm assuming there are fees to apply.
There is a processing fee, but here's a good thing. If your application isn't successful, you get 90% of it back. So it's not as risky.
That's good to know. So you apply, pay the fee, and then just wait. How long does it usually take to find out?
It usually has 3 stages. First, they receive your application. Then someone reviews it, and they might ask for more information. Finally, they either approve or refuse the application. Can take a couple of months, so that's why starting early is important.
It's interesting to hear about how the system works. But let's be real. Getting the permit doesn't mean you just hop on a plane and land in Ireland, right? What happens after the permit's approved?
Right. The employment permit lets you work in Ireland, but it's not a residence permit.
Yeah.
You need to apply for an entry visa at your local Irish embassy or consulate. And even then, the final decision's made by the immigration officer when you arrive.
Ah, so it's a multi-step process, even
Oh,
after
yeah.
the permit's done. Once you actually get to Ireland, what then? What should you do first?
If you're not from the EEA and you have your employment permit, you got to register with the Garda National Immigration Bureau. That's the Irish police force. It's how you become legally resident there.
Sounds like a lot to navigate, from applying to actually arriving. But it's good to know all this ahead of time.
Totally agree. Being prepared makes things much less stressful, you know? Your journey to Ireland will be a lot smoother. And remember, if you need help, there are experts out there, like Immigration Bridging Academy. They're all about helping people navigate these pathways.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Speaking of pathways, we talked about the first 2 years, renewing the permit, even applying for residency after 5 years. But after those 5 years on the general employment permit, what then? You said something about maybe not even needing a permit anymore. What's that about?
Now, here's the really exciting part. If you've been working legally, holding this permit or a work permit, employment permit for at least 5 years straight, you might not need a permit to work in Ireland anymore. It shows how much Ireland wants to integrate global talent and give them long-term opportunities.
Wait, you're saying at some point you might not need the permit at all. That's amazing. What does that mean, practically speaking, for your career and stuff?
It means freedom. You can work for any employer, explore different careers, and you don't need a specific permit. You basically have the same work rights as an Irish citizen or someone from the EEA.
Wow, that opens up a ton of possibilities. So let's say someone's thinking about this permit. They want to live in Ireland long term. What's the most important thing to remember from everything we've talked about?
It all boils down to this: planning and perspective. This isn't just a quick work visa, it's a chance to start a whole new life. If you want to settle in Ireland, you need a plan.
So it's not just about getting any job, right? It's about finding the right one that fits into your long-term goals.
Exactly. Think about your career, what kind of lifestyle you want, the life you see yourself having in Ireland.
Yeah.
Research industries, talk to people in your field, find opportunities that'll let you grow.
Got it. It's about seeing the bigger picture. Now, you mentioned studying in Ireland earlier. Can you tell us more about that?
Absolutely. This is great for people who want to learn new skills, explore new fields, or just experience the Irish education system. Imagine working in your field and studying for a degree at the same time.
Combining work experience with education, that's powerful. What kind of study options are there for people with the general employment permit?
Oh, there's a lot. Short courses, certificates, full degrees, you name it. Ireland has amazing universities, institutes of technology. Many of them have programs designed for international students.
So you could study something related to your job, become an expert, or even try something completely new. What are the benefits of studying while you're working in Ireland?
Tons of benefits. You improve your skills, making yourself even more valuable. You build your professional network, meeting other students and professors. And you get a deeper understanding of Irish culture and society, enriching your whole experience.
Making the most of your time in Ireland, growing both personally and professionally. Now, we've talked about the good stuff, but what about the challenges? Are there any downsides to this permit that people should know about?
Of course, moving to a new country always has challenges. Adapting to a new culture, building a support network, figuring out administrative stuff, it can be a lot.
Yeah, being realistic is important. What advice would you give to someone who's feeling a bit overwhelmed by the whole thing?
Prepare, prepare, prepare. Do your research, talk to people who've already moved, get advice from organizations like Immigration Bridging Academy. They've got practical tips, answers to your questions, and they can connect you with resources to make things easier.
Having people to support you can make all the difference, especially at the beginning when everything's new. Speaking of new, let's talk about the labor market needs test. What is it, and how does it affect someone applying for this permit?
The labor market needs test is a big part of the process. It's how the Irish government makes sure they're giving Irish and EEA citizens priority for jobs.
Right, so it protects local workers, making sure jobs are offered to them first. How does it work in practice?
Before an employer can hire someone from outside the EEA, they have to show they've really tried to find someone in Ireland or the EEA to fill the position. This means advertising the job on specific platforms and showing proof of those efforts.
It's understandable that the government wants to protect its own workforce. Are there any exceptions to this test?
Yes, a few. Like if the job is on that critical skills occupations list, the really in-demand ones, the test isn't needed.
So those are the specialized jobs that are super important for Ireland's economy. What other situations might the test be waived?
Well, if the job pays at least 64,000 euros per year, the test is waived. This recognizes the economic contribution of high earners.
That makes sense. Any other exceptions we should know about?
Yes, if the employer gets a recommendation from Enterprise Ireland or IDA Ireland, these organizations help businesses in Ireland, and sometimes they recommend specific people for hard-to-fill roles.
So in those cases, bringing in specific expertise from abroad makes sense for the government. Are there any exceptions for, like, personal reasons?
There's one for carers of people with special medical needs. If someone not from the EEA has been caring for someone in Ireland, and that person really depends on their care, the labor market needs test might be waived.
That's good to hear. Makes sense. Any other exceptions?
Yes, one for people who had a general employment permit or a work permit, employment permit before and lost their job because of something outside their control.
So if you were already working in Ireland and got laid off, there's a safety net.
Exactly. In these cases, you can apply for a new permit without the test again, as long as it happened within the past 6 months and you told the Department of Enterprise, Trade, and Employment within 4 weeks of losing your job.
Good to know. Gives people some security. So the system protects Irish workers, but it also supports people who've already been working in Ireland.
That's right, it's a balancing act. But overall, this general employment permit is a well-designed program with real opportunities for skilled people from all over the world.
It's amazing how much thought went into designing this program. It's not just about filling jobs. It's about helping people build a life in Ireland.
It's about recognizing that global talent can enrich a country, its economy, culture, and everything.
And speaking of culture, let's shift gears a bit. What's it like actually living in Ireland beyond work? The lifestyle, culture, the vibe, all that.
Ireland is known for being welcoming and having a vibrant culture full of history and tradition. From the busy streets of Dublin to the countryside, there's something for everyone.
I've heard great things about the landscapes and how friendly Irish people are. What makes Ireland special and a good place to live?
Well, the Irish are famous for their friendliness. You'll find yourself chatting with strangers in pubs or at events. And then there's the crack.
The Craig.
The crack, it's an Irish word, means fun, enjoyment, good times. It's about enjoying life, connecting with people, having a laugh.
So it's not just the scenery, it's the people and their energy. What about practical things like the cost of living? How does it compare to other European countries?
It depends on where you live. Big cities like Dublin and Galway are more expensive, while smaller towns and rural areas are cheaper.
So, like many places, location matters.
Hmm.
What about healthcare and education? Are those easy to access for someone with a general employment permit?
Ireland has a public healthcare system. There are some costs, but it's generally pretty accessible. Education's really important in Ireland, too. They have great schools and universities, and the government helps support education at all levels.
Sounds like Ireland takes care of its people, both physically and mentally.
Absolutely. And don't forget how beautiful the nature is. Ireland has rugged coastlines, rolling hills, charming villages, perfect for exploring in your free time.
It's all about that work-life balance, enjoying your job and experiencing what Ireland has to offer.
Exactly. Working in Ireland is more than just a job. It's a chance to experience a new culture, try new things, and make memories that last.
This has been really insightful. I'm sure our listeners are feeling inspired, wanting to know if this permit is right for them.
I hope so. It's a fantastic opportunity for anyone looking for an adventure and a chance to build a better future.
But before we finish, there's one more important thing. Stamp 4. You mentioned it earlier about working in Ireland after 5 years on the general employment permit. What exactly is it, and why is it so important?
Great point. Stamp 4 is permission from the Irish government that lets people from outside the EEA live and work in Ireland without restrictions.
So it's basically like having the same freedom as an Irish or EEA citizen. What does that mean for your career, what you can do with Stamp 4?
It changes everything. With Stamp 4, you're not tied to one employer or job anymore. You can change careers, start a business, even take a break from working, and it doesn't affect your residency.
That's incredible, so much freedom. But I'm guessing it's not easy to get Stamp 4. What do you need to qualify?
You're right, it's a big step. There are requirements, of course. Usually you need to have lived legally in Ireland for, say, 5 years without a break. And you have to show you can support yourself financially and that you're a good person, good character.
So it's about showing you're settled in Ireland. contributing to society.
Exactly. The Irish government wants to make sure that people who get Stamp 4 are serious about making Ireland their home.
It sounds like this general employment permit can be a bridge to something much bigger, a real connection with Ireland. You start with a job, maybe study, and then eventually you could have the same freedoms as an Irish citizen.
That's the amazing thing about this program. It's not just a temporary thing. It can be a path to a whole new life.
It's inspiring, especially for young people in Africa who are looking for a better future. This permit could be the key.
It shows how committed Ireland is to diversity, inclusivity, and welcoming skilled people from all over the world.
This has been so insightful. I bet our listeners are excited to learn more about this permit and see if it's right for them.
I hope so. It's an amazing opportunity for anyone who wants an adventure and a chance at a better life.
Okay, so for anyone listening who's feeling inspired and wants some help to see if this path is right for them, who should they talk to?
Immigration Bridging Academy. They're the experts. They can help people navigate these paths, give advice tailored to your situation. They can answer questions, help you get the right documents, support you every step of the way.
That's so important when you're making a big life change. There's a link below to book a free consultation with Immigration Bridging Academy. Reach out to them. It could be the first step to a brighter future.
It's an investment in yourself, in your dreams.
Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive into Ireland's General Employment Permit. We hope you learned a lot and are feeling empowered to explore the possibilities.
Remember, the future is full of potential. With the right guidance and determination, you can achieve anything.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep reaching for those dreams.